honestly, there's so many issues and so many issues and so many things in his life that, if he had known about prioritizing, he would have done differently. And now he's so much in a mess, in his home, at work, and everywhere. So yes, this value is very important. And like Maxwell said, if we have to practice the value of priority, then we must learn to say no. We must learn to plan. We must learn to follow our plan, because it's one thing to plan and think of so many things you want to do, but following those plans seems to be one of the major problems. So I would like you to share with us how you implemented or came across some things over the week that needed you to practice the value of prioritizing or priority, and how were you able to handle it? How were you able to put it to practice? And what were the response like, or the reaction to the steps you took this week?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, it was frozen for a bit. I was saying it's actually a daunting task to implement the things we learn. The not yet the daunting task. I would be honest with that. It's always easy to. Sometimes we know these things, so it's not learning. We know these things. It's putting them to work, especially when your whole mindset is framed on a default mode, which then is just responding to demand. Sometimes you forget that you need to keep evaluating your
yourself,
thought pattern, your actions, and all that. So I hosted a workshop on the weekend. I don't think I did so well putting my priorities in place for that, because I kept on attending to so many things that took me away, from that. My children also were resuming school on Monday, so there was so much to put together. And I realized that, so I'm going to skip all those to come to something I know I prioritized. I realized that the stress, I realized I was thinking too much, and then my BP was shooting up. And in both the work, both the family and all that, I think the most important thing was me, because everything, circles around me. So I thought to prioritize my health. So what did I do? I ensured that I always took time to breathe. For a long while, I have not seen a movie. I just went straight to the cinema, to watch a movie that I didn't plan for, but it was quite relieving. And then Monday morning motivation for me this week was to rest. So there was nothing motivating me to pursue anything, to rest. So I focused on prioritizing my health above every other thing. And I think when I'm in check or I'm in place, I go back and attend to other things.
Great. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you so much. What would you have done differently? Thinking back now, what would you have done differently? I just want to hear your thoughts before I share my thoughts with you.
Okay, differently, I would have delegated more. I would have given, more responsibility or tasks to other people to execute, and not, put the burden just on me, ensuring everything happens the way I want to see them happen.
Okay, that's one, and probably you would have also not put the workshop that time if you remember that school was going to be resuming. Maybe you would have, it would have affected or influenced the dates chosen for the workshop also. I had a 3 days workshop, And while planning for that workshop, two things. Somebody came back to me and asked me, why did you not do breakout sessions for the workshops? I said to her, I said, number one, she said, because it was a large group, 8 to 18. And this was a workshop that we had about 400, over 450 registered. And in each day we had 200 in the room, 200, 250 in the room. And I said to her, the minute I saw the expectation of parents when it comes to that course, and I knew it cut across everyone, whether you're 8 years old or whether you're 18, the people who registered, and the expectations were all similar. Okay, so I said to myself, why do breakout sessions? Why don't you do just 2 speakers in a day and put everybody in a room? That's one. Number two that influenced my decision was the fact that some parents have just one device, and you have 3 children who cut across the 3 different age strata. What would they do? Who would use the device and who will not use the device? So why don't you make it easy on the parents? And for this particular subject, which was on public relations and communication, which everybody needs, including parents, because I saw some of them sitting down and watching and listening and taking notes, even when it was supposed to be for the young ones. Now, to help them, I decided to say, okay, look, why don't you just do the same thing, 1 class for each? And another thing I did was I facilitated the first day. I'm the host of the program. I planned it. I facilitated the first day, but as small as breakout sessions, as small as icebreakers that were like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I gave it to other people. The second day, I did not facilitate. Even the third day, I didn't want to facilitate, but my moderator did not come. So I had to moderate the third day. So, but that's how it is sometimes. You may plan, you have all the ideas in your head. You have to learn to delegate. You have to learn to make sure that, the timing you're fixing, it's not something that is too stressful. And after I was done with Sunday, Monday, I stretched my legs, I rested, and I did nothing. So sometimes it's hard to prioritize, especially when you talk about daily bread. You have to eat, you have to do things. It is only someone who is alive that will have the opportunity to talk about prioritizing, to talk about money, to talk about food. Over the weekend on Saturday, we had a free medical health community outreach in Apo Mechanic, somewhere in Abuja. What happened? Most of them came down with high blood pressure and sugar issues. Why? They are busy chasing money and they don't care for their health. And so we were told about certain cases of people just slumming. They'll just slum, they'll just faint in the market, they'll rush them around. And they keep saying, look, we need this money, no time. So if we do not create the time, of course, nature has a way of forcing us to create times. And I like the fact that you took time to go to the cinema. What a way to distress. I was telling someone that I think it was also Friday class, we were talking, and I said, look, sometimes I sit down and watch Netflix. You would think that, okay, maybe I'm busy, but I discovered that I'm a night person. So at the end of the day, I'll just take some time and stretch my legs and watch a series or watch a movie. And so these are things where we need to co-opt into our plan. How do I distress? No matter how you're working hard, put in those time in my distressing time, my me time, my this time, my family time, and all that, and my growth time also. And so I think all those things will help. So thank you so much for sharing and also allowing me to share my own day, my own weekend, or my own time with you. All right. So today we are going to be talking about something very exciting. All right, so today we're going to be talking about something that is important to the values that we have mentioned before, because we talked about attitude, then we went to talk about personal growth and development. And if you must grow in your personal growth and development, then you must learn to prioritize. And prioritizing means that, in all this process that I'm busy trying to prioritize and make these things, where do relationship come in? So Maxwell is saying that the quality of our relationship will determine the quality of our lives. Imagine if you have a class and you don't have good relationship with them at home, you don't have good relationship with those in the office, you don't have good relationship anywhere, you will do everything by yourself. Just imagine what the quality of one's life will be if you don't have this support. So we're going to be looking at the table of relationship today, and I'm glad that we will have all the time to talk about these things on the round table today. So let me quickly be sure that I have my audio on for this before I share so that you can hear me. Thank God I did that. All right, so let's go to the to hear my friend, my coach, talk to us today about this value of relationship. I think I've done the wrong thing now. Okay.
Today, I want to talk to you about relationships. When I was in the 7th grade, I read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. My father, when each one of the children, I was the middle child, got to the 7th grade, he literally paid us an allowance to read books that he put in our hands because he felt that reading good books could change your life, and that was one of those books. That did change my life. In fact, I read that book every year through high school and took 2 Dale Carnegie relationship classes while I was in high school. And what I knew as a very young man that I'm sharing with you now as a very old man is this: the quality of your relationships will determine the quality of your life. I wrote a book called 25 Ways to Win with People, which was really a book that was kind of my Dale Carnegie book, helping people to win with relationships. And in that book, on 25 Ways to Win with People, there are 5 people practices that I want to give you that will help you in getting better relationally with other people. Number 1, practice the 30-second rule. This is a simple thing that you can do, and you can start doing it immediately. The 30-second rule means that within the first 30 seconds that you see somebody or meet them, say something positive about their life. Compliment them. Something that is nice. In the first 30 seconds, be intentional to start your conversation off in a positive way with another person. The second thing that I would encourage you to do, it's a great practice, is to listen with your heart. Now, I know we have ears to listen, but listening with your heart is wanting to listen. It focuses on us really wanting to understand the person that we're hearing from. Now, this is a practice that I had to learn because I was not a naturally good listener. In fact, I had one of my staff members one day come up to me and have an honest moment with me and say, "John, you don't listen to us." And for a moment, that was hard for me to receive, and I kind of pushed back and was defensive. But the longer that I thought about it, the more I realized that she was exactly right. I didn't listen well. And so for the next couple of years on my legal pad, I'd put a big L over in the right-hand top corner of that legal pad. That big L just stood for listen. And I would get into meetings, and I would be tempted to talk more than I should, and I'd see the big L on the legal pad, and I'd just say, "Shut up, John. Listen. Listen with your heart. Listen to understand. Listen to care." The third thing that I would encourage you to practice in relationships is to remember
So sorry, a call came in and sorry about that. So it took us off. Sorry. Let's go back.
It's okay. It's okay.
meet them, say something positive about their life. Compliment them. Something that is nice. In the first 30 seconds, be intentional to start your conversation off in a positive way with another person. The second thing that I would encourage you to do, it's a great practice, is to listen with your heart. Now, I know we have ears to listen, but listening with your heart is wanting to listen. It focuses on us really wanting to understand the person that we're hearing from. Now, this is a practice that I had to learn because I was not a naturally good listener. In fact, I had one of my staff members one day come up to me and have an honest moment with me and say, John, you don't listen to us. And for a moment, that was hard for me to receive, and I kind of pushed back and was defensive. But the longer that I thought about it, the more I realized that she was exactly right. I didn't listen well. And so for the next couple of years on my legal pad, I'd put a big L over in the right-hand top corner of that legal pad. That big L just stood for listen. And I would get into meetings, and I would be tempted to talk more than I should, and I'd see the big L on the legal pad, and I'd just say, shut up, John. Listen. Listen with your heart. Listen to understand. Listen to care. The third thing that I would encourage you to practice in relationships is to remember a person's story. I've discovered that everyone has a story, and I love to hear what their story is. I love to ask them about their story. I can remember Margaret and I many years ago going into an Italian restaurant down in the area where we live in Florida called Evo's. And as we were ordering food, I asked for a Coke Zero, and the waitress said they didn't have Coke Zero there. They had Diet Coke. So I said, okay, and I took the Diet Coke. We came in about maybe a month later, and I sat down, and I started ordering my food, and the waitress came up to me, and she had a Coke Zero. And she began to pour it into my glass of ice, and I looked at her and said, oh, my goodness, you got Coke Zero? She said, sure, Mr. Maxwell. She said, when you were here last, you said that was your favorite drink, and so we have it now in stock for you. We remembered that's what you liked, and so therefore we wanted to serve you well. You see, she remembered my story. And one of the best ways to value people is just to remember their stories. It will make them feel special. Number 4, create a memory and visit it often. I love to create memories. In fact, I try to do it on a daily basis. And with my children as they grew up, and now with my grandchildren, I was always asking them 2 questions. Every experience that we had, big experience, small experience, it didn't matter. I would ask them these 2 questions. What did you love and what did you learn? I've been asking those questions now for 40 years. And trust me, every experience that you have, you need to evaluate and pull out of that experience something that will help you grow and learn. Asking a person what they love, what they learned, will help them to kind of evaluate those experiences and create those memories with those families and other people around you that they just will never forget. And finally, help people win. This works with family, this works with friends and business associates. Help people to learn how to win. What I've discovered is that most people go through experiences of life and they don't get a lot of wins. And if you have the ability to make things happen for yourself, then help make things happen for others. In fact, one of the great transitions I had in my life relationally was when I quit trying to make things happen always for me, and I began to set things up that would happen for others so that they could experience the wins, so they could experience the joys. Here's what I know. As you look back on your life, the relationships that you have on your life will give you your greatest memories, and they'll also give you your most difficult, saddest moments. But if you're intentional in building into people's lives and adding value to people on a daily basis, I can promise you, you'll have a lot of good memories with a lot of good people that will give you a foundation of relational success. Because leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Where do you gain influence with people? By connecting with them and relating to them. Remember this, people won't go along with you unless they can get along with you. So be a person that they can get along with. And then you can go together on that journey. Now, today's round table is going to be a little different than all the previous ones. You're going to do this regular round table on relationships now. But after you're done, your leader is going to invite you to watch another video called My Most Important Relationship. In that lesson, I'm going to talk to you about my faith in God, which is my most important relationship. Now, this session is going to be totally voluntary. So if you don't want to participate, it's okay. You can leave. I only want you to stay if you want to stay, but I hope you do. Because if you do stay, you're going to hear me talk about the thing that has helped me to be a success more than anything else. If you said, John, what's the one factor that's made you successful? I'd have to say it's the faith factor. So go ahead now and enjoy your roundtable on relationships. And after that, you'll have an opportunity to hear me talk to you about my most important relationship. And I'm excited about that. Because honestly, it could become your most important relationship also. And it will form your journey to success.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. All right. I'm always glad to listen to this particular value that teaches on how we can build and, of course, keep relationships. So let me hear you. What were the things that, were new to you, things you knew before, things you're going to be learning, unlearning, relearning? All right, so please share with us what you gain from this listening to John talk about relationships.
Okay, I was smiling all through, possibly because I think this resonates a lot more with me. Maybe this is the easiest of all the classes because it was like he was reading my CV, so it was quite interesting for me. I got sometimes we don't know these things in this framework as taught, but we just do them. For me, it just reaffirms that what I'm doing is right and I should keep doing it. When I meet people, I love to say things that, will make them laugh, smile, and I've seen it enhances communication. So when you give a compliment to someone, tell people you look like your name, and people are wondering, what does my name look like? I say, look at the mirror. And I've always learned to. So what I know in the 5 things he listed, that maybe it's not yet my strength, but I do, is listening with my heart. The others are very easy to do, but listening with your heart is quite a daunting task as well, because your heart is telling you many things, especially if you're hungry or there are other alarming things around. So people just want to talk. I think you have all the time to listen, so that's, I think, the other one I'm struggling with. Remembering people's story is, that one, it's a winner anytime. People really see that you value them. And I can remember when people tell stories, when we have conversations and they tell me a story of, oh, TJ, do you remember you do this? I'm like, oh, wow. Knowing that you even thought about this, it makes me feel very special. So that key creating memories is something I love to do. And then finally, I think this is one of the reasons I was born, to help people win. I just love to be people's back. I want to be the one shouting, you can do it. I want to be that extra hand to ensure that the weight is not so heavy for you. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to exceed your expectation. And I would just probably also want to be part of the story. My work with teenagers, I always tell them that the picture I paint for them is the future where they will be on the stage and everyone is clapping for them, and I'm behind with tears saying you made it. So I always want to be a part of people's story, helping them win. And the last line was, people would not, they'll not go along with you if they cannot get along with you. That's absolutely true. And it's something, started leading a new set of group of people recently, and there was this orientation that came from nowhere. So I used the word we are going to evolve this organization. And what went trending was that I said we're going to dissolve the organization. And I never knew why I was getting the kickback, from the leadership down the strata. It was as though we were in this silent war. Everything we tend to do, there was just this thing people had about me. I didn't really know what was the problem until we had, excuse me, we had a meeting where we called like a mediator to some who were aggrieved. And that was where I started hearing, I was laughing because it was strange to me. And then I said, I started asking questions. There's no minutes, there's no recording where I ever said that we're going to dissolve. This is what I said. We're going to evolve. That means we're going to be a better version of who we are.
Wow.
And at that point, when people got to hear and understand what I said, we could relate better, we could talk, and we're not thinking what is not being said. We're hearing what's being said, get along. We found out that now we can now build together, in the direction you're pointing us to. So I think getting along is very vital. Else we just be on a frustrating, lonely stroll with people waiting to see you fall, and then they will say we're dead.
Fantastic. Thank you for being vulnerable this afternoon to share with us your experiences. Honestly, it took me time to be able to get into that realm of complimenting people, because I also had trust issues in my life at a point in my life. Growing up, I had trust issues. So when you tell me something, right, and I was very hard on me also. I didn't know how to celebrate my small wins. If the wins were not big, if they were not major, I didn't think they were wins. So when you tell me, oh, that was fantastic, that was like it, I'll say, this one, they wash my head, now wash, but so, so it took me time, because you cannot give what you don't have. And what you cannot accept, you will not be able to give to others. So I had to come into that space where I knew that life is 1,000 miles starts with a step. So you should be able to celebrate one step. And as you take the next step, it's all about growth. That growth is not a destination, it is a journey. And whatever achievements you have, see life as more of growth than of achieving goals. So until I got to that point in my life, it was not easy for me to throw compliments. So today it's so easy to throw compliments, to motivate people and mean it. Because there are some people who motivate, they just say for motivation's sake. But once you turn your back, they'll do their nose at you like, I was just talking, but you need to mean it. Because for someone to, especially young people, for one to even raise a hand to talk in a class, it's something. It means a lot. You don't know the effort. So you need to appreciate the effort that person has made to even walk up to you, to talk to you, or to raise their hand to ask a question or to answer a question. So if we can all know these things, it will be easy for compliments to flow from us, especially in our parenting and in our workspace, where you have young people who are trying to find the steps, and you're using your years of experience to judge them, as a yardstick to determine if you should compliment them or not. And I've seen people say things like, I don't understand. Are you the first person? Honestly, that moment, that is the first person. And listening with your heart. I had to go through what I call emotional intelligence and emotional building to be able to listen with my heart. It almost cost me my job one time, where I felt I knew everything that the boss needed. I felt I knew everything. Before you say A, I tell you where you're going at the end, until I made a big, huge mistake one day. And in fact, my boss was magnanimous enough to say, come, what did you think I wanted to say? And I said, isn't this you wanted to say? I just said it. He looked at me and said, just go. It was after I left his presence, I knew I'd moved. So I told myself, no, you need to start listening, and listen well. Even if you know, listen, let the person finish, and let it be that he aligns with what you're saying, or you could even learn something new from that. So thank you so much for sharing. And I think everyone is in a process of learning. And I like what he said. He said, you have to be intentional now. There are things, like you said, there are things we do. But intentionality helps us to know that, oh, this is a good thing. Oh, let me continue. Because people's action and reaction can even frustrate you not to do the things that you do that are good normally, because you just give up. But, when you're intentional about it, it helps you to understand that what you're doing is right, and then you want to stay with it. So Maxwell says, all things being equal, people will work with people they like. People will work with people they like. All things not being equal, they still will. But the quality of life is determined by the quality of relationship that we give. And he said, the final word, he said, whether we like it or not, leadership is influence, no more, no less. Okay, so let's look at some of the benefits that we will get if we develop good relationship with people. So please, can you read for us?
I love number one. You will live at peace with others. Paul said, as much as light, you live at peace with others. Trust me, we want that peace. Number two, you develop a strong network of people who want the best for you. That's very true. Number three, you experience satisfaction of meeting the needs of others. This cannot be better said. Number four, you experience the harmony of being treated as well as you treat others. You experience the harmony, yes, of being treated as well as you treat others. Yeah, I get that. Five, you are more likely to receive support from others when you need it. And I think from jumping from number 1 to 5, is it for me? The peace you get when you live it up, where you are involved in building good relationships. One of the things is that people can even fight on your behalf without knowing. Yeah, I've seen that happen many times. People are defending, no, not this guy. Excuse me. Now, this is a very funny story. There is this guy in the neighborhood who, whenever he's going out, he sees all these touts on the road. He stops, he hails them, maybe gives them money, or if he's coming back from the food, from work, he gives them food. He just buy packs and all that. And there was a day where there was a robbery case in the area. Only his house was not public. Because they say they know this guy. So the fact that now it's sad, it's not saying we should patronize a tout, but the idea that you seed into people's life and it comes back in some way, to help you. It's just so amazing. I have found out that, let me use my dad, for instance. Growing up, I knew my dad as someone who gives a lot. He can give for Africa. He helps. We even complain that he doesn't take care of us. Yeah. He likes to give to help every other person, and he leaves his children. But, we now got to understand where it says a good name is better than riches and all that. There are places we go, and once they hear my dad's name, oh, the way they treat us with honor, the way they respect us, that reverence. And I'm like, okay, what exactly did my dad do here? But it was that he's seeding into building a good relationship, trying to support and see that people win, trying to do those things that have created this experience for us. So for me, I'm even paying it forward to ensure that I do same for my children.
Fantastic. And that's what the intentionality comes in, because now you know, and you know the benefits of, doing that. So it may not be paid to you, but of course, like you said, you're paying it forward, even to your children and your children's children. So that is really amazing. And there's something that Maxwell said here, that he said, that satisfaction you gain. I've had a lot of backlash sometimes when I do a lot of events for young people, and everything is free, and I get a lot of backlash. Why do you always do this? But you know what? It has a way. When someone say God bless you, you don't know where God is going to bless you. But sometimes that fact that you're pouring out on yourself, it doesn't matter. There's no difference between paid or unpaid in your experience and how you share it. it will always come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. And I want to also understand that everyone who is either listening to this playback, I want us to understand something. It is not where you sow that you always reap. Because when he said you are more likely to receive support from others when you need it, it may not come from the same people that you have given all the support to. When he says you experience harmony of being treated as well as you treat others, it may not come from the same people, but trust me, nature has a way. Nature has a way of aligning in your favor when you are naturally a person that supports others in the 5 ways that John Maxwell has spoken about. So whether you like it or not, it should be a lifestyle. Seeing that one, you make other people succeed, you listen to others, you compliment them, you create memories. I remember that till today, the memories I created with my kids, because there was a time in our lives that, I was so busy with work, and I would, holidays, I was like, they want to go on holidays, I could afford it. And I would say someone should go with them. Or I'm calling a sister or a brother to please go, and we'll give parental consent. Until one day when something happened, and I said, okay, this year I'm going to travel with my children. It was hard to get permission from the office to do, but I finally did. I just told permission, just give me 10 days. That 10 days, we're still talking about it today, 10 years after. The experiences, the bonding, the things that we're able to achieve, even when my son got lost in Disney, Paris, and we were looking for him. See, today we still talk about it. That time it was 4, and today is 17. But we're still talking about those stories because, you see, that's what relationship helps you to do, to create memories. And when you're intentional about relationships, though there are going to be bad memories, but you will intentionally remember the good ones more than the bad ones, and more of that. So, yes, these are some of the benefits we really get when we try to create those memories. So let's look at some of the steps to follow. I want to acknowledge the fact that Kele just joined us. Kele actually called me to say he's in a meeting and he'll be joining late. So thank you so much, Kele, for coming. I'm sure the other parts, because of you, we're going to be putting the replay so that you can have the other parts, in it. So Kele, I would ask TJ to read the first part, and then you read the second part. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you. Welcome. All right, TJ, please go ahead and read the steps to follow if we must enjoy the quality of life that comes with the quality of relationships that we get.
Number 1, put others first. John C. Maxwell reminds us that the entire population of the world, with one minor exception, is composed of other people. If we maintain this perspective, it helps us to remember to put other people first. This week, focus on serving others and putting their needs ahead of your own.
Yes, so go ahead, share.
Sorry, can I make a statement before he goes ahead?
No, I said go ahead and share. I'm talking to you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm just thinking from our unfortunate reality, where the norm puts the orientation like, now who don't chop then the sea road. So the idea of I have not satisfied myself and I'm thinking of other people. After all, I said love others as you love yourself. So if I've not loved myself, how can I love others? So these misread thoughts, tends to challenge the idea of putting others first. However, when we get to realize that if our goals are not clearly articulated, every other thing we do in the process will truncate the process to achieve the goal. And when I say the goal here, humanity at the end of the day is the goal. So it's the world's not made up of only us. Whatever we are existing to do or to achieve, it's about people. And if that is clear, you understand that even taking care of yourself is so that you can be of value to other people.
Exactly.
So people, yes, so people are the end, because without people, there's no profit. Without people, there's nothing. So putting other people first is saying to me here that we have to remember that we live not just for us, we live for beyond us. And if that drives us rightly, then we will certainly be in place to build relationship that will, have the benefits that we just read earlier on.
Thank you so much. I like the fact that you gave this example about your health, about health. If you don't take care of yourself, and if you don't know that at the end of the day, I have to be alive for others. I remember recently my mom had, she lost her sister, and she was crying, and my mom's about 76, and she just kept crying. She won't sleep at night. I told her, I said, Mommy, I sympathize with you. I know what you're going through. I empathize the fact that you lost your sister, but can you just realize that you have children, you have grandchildren, you have other brothers and sisters, and we need you? Please, it's okay to cry, but please, your health. Her BP went up, and so she became sick, and we kept pleading with her, please, just remember us. Remember the rest of us. Remember the children of even your sister that died, that at least they will need someone. So sometimes we take decisions, we don't care because we don't put in front the fact that people also need us. I think there was one dramaturg talked about the fact that you are created for a certain set of people and generations. So if we think that way, we will learn to put others first in the subconscious of every decision that we take. Thank you so much for that. Number 2, Kelly, please go ahead.
Okay. Number 2 says, seek to understand others before being understood. Another lesson taught by John is the exchange principle, which says, instead of putting others in their place, we must put ourselves in their place. How do you do that? By listening and working harder at understanding the other person's point of view instead of trying to get them to understand yours. This week, make it your goal to speak less, listen more, and understand others. Okay. I do customer service training, and one thing I always try to tell the people that I'm training is that you need to understand, you need to put yourself in the customer's shoes when they are complaining to you, because a lot of people, what they do is they tend to feel like the customer is attacking them rather than understanding why the customer is complaining. So I can relate to this very well, because basically, even if you're having a disagreement with someone or having an exchange with someone or talking to somebody, in order for you to understand what their point is, it's best for you to actually try to think about their thought process and how what they're trying to say to you, instead of making an assumption of your own and then that's when disagreements come about. So I feel like a lot is in relationships, personal relationships or professional relationships. It's very important to understand to put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand their point of view before you can answer them back.
Thank you so much. It's very easy to misunderstand others, and react to people based on those misunderstandings. And it's also very easy for you to underrate someone and say, what does this have to say? But your ability to listen and understand others helps you to empower the people that you're listening to and you're responsible to. So thank you very much for sharing that with us and for sharing your own experience with us. Thank you. All right, number 3. TJ, please, number 3.
Repair a broken relationship. If you have a broken relationship, you need to do all that you can to repair it. This usually requires that you take the first step, do something to reach out to someone that you might have wronged, even if the relationship breakdown is not all your fault. When you make good relationships a priority, you sometimes have to go first in rebuilding them. Apologize for your contribution to the problem and be open and forgiving, even if the person does not respond in kind. I'm asking myself over here, why am I the one reading all the heavy ones?
All right.
Oh yeah, the natural response, it's almost like he offended me, he should apologize first. It's not my fault. You know, what if, and all that. There's always one thing there, and it just shows that we are still, you know, I just sent a post. Somebody asked a question recently, and why didn't somebody react when she was attacked? I said, because she is actually more superior than those who attacked. If she had reacted to the attack, she would have brought herself to their low states of reasoning and esteem. And I'm looking at that here as well, that our inability to apologize, our inability to take the first step, regardless of who is wrong, is showing that one, we're not even humble enough for what we desire. We're not humble enough to grow, and that will hinder personal development and growth. You know, if we cannot humble ourselves, I think we talked about that in that class. We are not as big as we think we are, and we're not ready to be as big as we desire to be if we can't go low. You know, I think Jesus was saying, if you want to be the greatest, you have to start, you know, by 7 and being the least of them all. Yeah, so it may look as though, yes, but let's look at the mechanic, for instance. You want your beautiful car to drive, you know, well on the road. Somebody has to go under. Somebody has to get dirty. Someone has to fix, you know, what's broken. The person didn't break it. You know, you could say, yes, you're paying him to, but it's not, he didn't break it. But he gets spilled all the oil and everything on him for something probably you damaged. So if we really want things to work and move smoothly, we need to do the dirty job. We need to learn to apologize. We need to show people that, hey, you see, we understand that there is a problem. You're not the problem, but we are willing to build beyond what the problem is. And I think that gives you a superpower.
Thank you very much for sharing. Caleb, you have something to say on this?
Yes, I'd like to add on something. There's a saying that I always think to myself whenever I have an argument with somebody. There's 3 sides to every story. There's their side, there's my side, and then there's the truth. Right? So my side could be saying that this person is the one that did me wrong. Their side is also saying the same thing. But the truth is, you know, we had a disagreement. So by acknowledging your part in the disagreement and taking the first step and saying, look, I'm sorry, can we work this out? Even if you don't feel like you were wrong, is a good thing to help to build relationships and fix things.
Thank you very much. Sometimes, you know, it's so easy for us to think that the other person is wrong. It's so easy for us to point fingers, you know. And every time we do this lesson, when we point fingers to us, they say 3 others are pointing to us and 1 is affirming that look at yourself first. So when I did this lesson, it was easy for me to look at the fact that every other person had offended me in any other situation we had. But just like Caleb said, 3 sides to the story. What was my own side? I must have done something for that person to react that way. I must have said something. I may not have listened properly. I may have misunderstood, you know, something. So why don't you start by apologizing for your own parts first? Admitting that, okay, maybe I must have said something, or maybe I didn't listen well, or maybe I raised my voice or something that made you to react like this, and you said those terrible things, I may be hurt. And actually, at the time, the first time I did that, basically in 2017, 2018, I was really in a place of hurt. I was really in a place of hurt. And when I came across this thing, I broke down. I literally cried because it was hurt. I felt so bad. How can I go? This person hurt me. I know they're older than me and the youngest. But this person hurt me. Why must it be that it's only I will be the one to have to go and make amends? I cried, but I took the step. And I'm grateful to God that I did that, because some years after I lost this person. And I'm grateful to God that we made amends, we cleared the air, we became friends, and when this person passed on, I continue to be grateful to God that I was right there at that moment when these things happen. So please, let's not always look at the other. Let's also, there's valuable relationships that we have let go simply because those people hurt us, and we keep saying, oh, they don't value us. They value us, then they will know what I bring to the table. Hey, it may not be for you. It may just be for that person to find peace. So this week, let's go and think hard. What are some of those relationships that have been broken, misunderstanding? It could be with family, it could be with friends, it could be with co-workers, it could be with anyone, even with your mechanic that used to be very kind to you, but just for one thing you did and you took a stand. You may not need the mechanic back, but there may just be a piece that needs to happen. Why don't you see how you can mend those relationships? So please, let's pause and think. What is it that I need to create? What is something, please can you reduce this volume? What is something that would have been valuable to me? I let go because I was angry and I felt hurt. Let's look at them and see what we can do to help ourselves. All right, so I think our time is up. I would have said, let's go ahead and ask ourselves how much we value, how much we assess this, but it is time. And I'm really learning very, very hard to see that I keep to my words and I keep to my time. So because of that, we're going to put it on the chat, and we are going to be taking that assessment on the chat instead of here today. So thank you so much for your time. I value you, I value your time, and I value every moment that we share and we spend together here, and I don't want to take it for granted. Thank you so much, because I know you left a whole lot to be here today. So any final comments before we leave? Everybody will
I look
speak.
forward to building a relationship with Kele.
Wow.
Same here.
Wow. So you guys can look for yourself on the WhatsApp group and then connect and continue with that. I'm sure there will be some valuable outcome of this relationship, irrespective of anything. All right. So Kelly, what about you? Don't tell me that you look forward to building a relationship with.
I'm just a little sad that I wasn't able to join the full class, but I'm happy that I was able to join at least.
Thank you so
And
much.
I got, even if it was just a few minutes, I still got something out of the class.
Yeah, and I also learned from you too. So thank you for joining, irrespective of the time. So I appreciate you all. And thank you so much for keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. All of you are experts in your own way. So I'm learning and we're all learning from each other. So let's keep learning and growing, and adding value to ourselves and to the world around us. So thank you so much and God bless you.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. All right, bye everyone.